It's going to the patient's address, finding out where they live, picking them up, getting them on board. That in itself can be a challenge because sometimes you have patients with very limited mobility. You tend to find that elder people maybe aren't quite as prepared as they need to be, so they'll need you to lock their back door, they'll need you to put their cat in or put their dog in, turn their telly off, help them on with their coats, as well as then locking up out the front, making sure everything's secure for them and that they're happy to leave the property and assist them out onto the ambulance. And you have to be able to secure them in so that they are, safe to travel. We don't want any accidents on board, so have to make sure that they're fully secure. And again, that they're comfortable. Some people get very nervous travelling, some people are very poor travellers, and you're there to assist them, and ease their fears, really. So that's the main role.
You never know what you're going to get from one day to the next. It's full of surprises, but it's really the interaction with the patients, sense that you're doing good for them and that you're doing good for your community, I think, as well. To be honest, the worst does happen sometimes, but I don't think that's a reason to not build relationships with people. People like to tell you things, they like to tell you about themselves, and we're here to listen. That's part of our role, I think.
Once you actually get to the hospitals, again, it's a question of what department are they going to, so you always check with the patient before you actually get to the hospitals, because we've had occasions where people have been down for the wrong hospitals, and slight discrepancies, so you always check. And then you would physically take them down to the department that they're actually going to. Again, some patients don't have very good mobility, or they may be very confused and may not be very good at following the instructions. So we would actually physically walk them down to where they're going and make sure that they're comfortable before we leave them.
Bye girls, ta-da, I'll give you a ring.
I'm enjoying my job. It's a very interesting job because you meet a lot of different people on the wards and off the wards, and a lot of interesting patients. They always got a great story to tell you. No two jobs are exactly the same. I mean, there's different steps, there's different patients with different capabilities. So you just got to, in a way, play it by ear and just assess the situation and just do the best that you can.
Oh yes, I had said there was no way I could go on a bus with the back pain. And I didn't know what the back pain was going to be like then. I mean, I only knew the pain that I was having prior to having the operation. And I would feel safer knowing there was ambulance men on board that I felt safer in the hands of, because what's just been done in my back.
It doesn't always go to plan, because just like the last patient before, when we got there to the ward, she still had another 10-15 minutes to go with her treatment before she's able to get off there to come with us. So we try to be as flexible as we can, but obviously we've got scheduled work, so what we're doing now is we're going to take the patients that we have on board now, drop them off and then come back for this other patient, just because we have a bit of time now.
We deal with lots of different inquiries from hospitals, wards, GP surgeries, and sometimes patients. So if anybody has any problems, they tend to come to our department first, and if we can't help them, we point them in the right direction. One patient that comes to mind is a gentleman that travels to hospital on a regular basis, and he'd had one day where his journey had not gone the way that he wanted it to. He'd had a problem. So I initially made contact with the patient and advised him that I would be investigating his complaint and arranged to go out and see him. When I went out to visit him, we discussed his property wasn't actually that easy accessible. It was quite far away from the road, and after his treatment he does feel quite tired, so it was difficult for him to walk to and from the vehicle. So we decided it would be better in the future to change his mobility so that he didn't have to walk, so that they actually would bring a chair up to his door, which would make it easier for him getting to and from the ambulance.
The problems we have with the vehicles in the service comes through on a fax machine for defects, be it lights, tyres, poor performance. The problems in this area is keeping vehicles on the road, and we know that through bad weather we know or we expect certain aspects of the problems.
We fetch them in approximately every 6 weeks. We do that on a time and a mileage basis. We'll carry out the full safety inspection as well as the full servicing, that's checking brakes, checking lights, tyres, and we also carry out a full Lola test on the tail lift. When we're carrying out servicing, we also plan our services around other planned events such as cleaning, equipment maintenance, and other inspections of the vehicle, so that the vehicle is off the road for the minimum of time and it's turned round as quickly as possible in that time. We understand that it's elderly, infirm people that's going in the back, and you look at it in a different light. It is a good working environment. We're working to very high standards. There's no corners cut. The conditions we work in is very, very good. We've got all the proper equipment that we have. We're pretty advanced in the garage world.
Vehicle cleaning's cleaned on 3 different schedules. First of all, we have a level 2 clean, which is done every second service. The vehicle comes in and they give it quite a good deep cleaning. Then we have a level 3, which is done every 48 weeks, and this means the vehicle is stripped of all its items and cleaned top to bottom, including cupboards and everything. We also have what's called a level 1 clean. Now this is done if a vehicle comes in for any maintenance work between inspections, and that's a basic clean to bring us up to the minimum level. I do a swab on every clean to make sure that the vehicle is cleaned to a certain standard. We present these swab results to the board every month so they're aware what's going on with it. With us being trained by the manufacturers, we have a higher standard of maintenance. We ensure that all our equipment is maintained every 6 months, where the manufacturer's recommendation is only 12 monthly. This means the equipment is always in tip-top working order all the time.
Some patients don't actually see anybody in the course of a day, sometimes in a week, and sometimes some patients haven't actually been out of the house since the last time they went to hospital, you know, and it's just bringing a little bit something to that patient, you know, where they actually feel as though there is somebody out there who cares about them.